just put out a call for support for a collaborative grant between the US and Uganda. It's for institutions, it's for individuals, for practitioners that are interested in exchanging ideas and knowledge between US and Uganda specifically, and it's quite between $5,000 to $50,000. So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was it was introduced already here in Uganda last before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So if the call is almost out, I think they'll put it out in May or June. And when that call comes out, you can apply for like 180,000 euros for 3 years, that you can do whatever you want to do. It's both institutional and for individual projects.
Please share it far and wide. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And this information will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faisal will be back here next week. We'll be talking about investment into the creative industry and how we can go about it, and who needs what, where, when, how. We'll be talking about it next week. Until next week, Edio Killer, Faisal Chiwewa, the founder and the CEO of Volleyball Foundation, we're signing out on the Creative Talk. Welcome to the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Edio Killer, and of course this particular Tuesday we get to discuss the topic of UG creative sector, the challenges and the opportunities in these challenging times. COVID-19 has brought a lot of challenges, but also there are a lot of opportunities that we can take advantage of in this particular time and space, to be able to actually become more creative, more successful, and make more money, to say the least. If you find yourself stressed in this period of time, perhaps you have not been a very good creative mind. You need to start thinking more about your creativity so that you are not stressed, because creative people are supposed to make life easier for people. You're supposed to make sure that when I'm stressed, you think for me, you make things creative, turn around things for me, and I'm good to go. But otherwise, welcome to the show. In the studio today, I have the one and only Faisal Chiwewa. Chiwewa. Managing interference.
All the days we've been together, you don't know my name.
Welcome to the show, Faisal. And of course, the one and only Abat Opio Drywood Safari, aka as known to you, is in the studio. Abat, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. And I want to dive to France and welcome Stella Tal in France. How are you this morning from Kampala? Bonjour, ça va bien?
I'm very well, thank you, and good to be with you this morning. Hope everyone is keeping safe. Yes.
Thank you very much, Stella, for that wonderful. I hope you are staying, enjoying the lockdown like we are in Kampala, having, you know, the fact that you are Ugandan living in France. You have to enjoy this life with us. When we're in lockdown, you also have to be in a lockdown. The spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood all together, Stella. But Faisal, you are troubled.
I always trouble.
This lockdown. We want to know, what was the experience like?
It's not very easy these days to travel during this period, but of course it's not that difficult as people expect. So I had a very smooth engagement with my friends, and it was a good break away from. I haven't been in Europe for almost a year. I think it's last March. I think since last January. So going there now, a lot of things have changed, to be honest, and you realize that people have trying to define new ways of living. You know, trying to see how they can move on with this whole madness that is going on. Yeah. But also the other thing is that we hadn't been in theater since this time. So it was, for me, it was amazing to sit in an auditorium with around 100 people watching a production, and I was like, wow, I missed this. I missed this kind of experience again. So it was really nice to watch some concerts, engage with some peers, and talk about the what's going on around the world. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Albert Opio, you traveled all the way from your place to here. What was the experience like?
Luckily, I did not go to Amuria. I was about to go to Amuria and then they locked us down.
Wow.
That means I was going to go there and I don't come back.
Yes, and stay there for 42 days.
For the 42 days.
We're just on 4 days only. 4 days of the 42, and guys already stressed.
Already. We have 38 to go. Yeah, but I mean, what can we do? We have to survive.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen and lady, welcome to the show. I want to just take you guys through, first of all, to the discussion today. This Tuesday, we are discussing the creative industry talk, and we are looking at the UG creative sector, the challenges and the opportunities in these challenging times. I call these challenging times because a lot has gone on. We've just come out from the lockdown. We are back in the lockdown again. There's a lot of talks that we are likely going to go for the next 14 days after this, as it is has always been. 14 days, then we'll give another 14 days. Before you know it, the year is ending and you don't know what to do. But in this challenging situation, there's also opportunity in there. I believe that there's opportunity, a lot of it, and we can take advantage of. But I want to take you guys from the creative sector point of view. Creative sector is one of the fastest growing parts of Uganda economy, whether we like it or not. And as such, it offers very great opportunity for local Ugandans here, as well as the business here, to do things in a very particular way, expose our products. But particularly in the film industry, we can see that there's a lot of growth going on. TV productions, we're seeing sports, we're seeing games, we're seeing the digital marketing has become something of a new development. As we talked about last time, Opio, you were trying to learn how to get into TikTok so that you're not left behind. And but that, gentlemen, with today's digital technologies, UG Creatives businesses can also easily take advantage of the following things, which is actually the center of our discussion today. One, connect with the wider market. We want to know, how do we connect with the wider market going forward? Two, find new distribution channels. We talked about this before. In this time that we're in lockdown, how can we find new distribution channels? Channels. And the third thing I want us to talk about is identify the global demand for creative products and services. You have just come back from Germany. We want to know from you, did you see some opportunity for us there? Or opportunities for us there? Can we take advantage of, can Opio's quick TikTok begin to get to Germany very quickly using your contacts? That's what we're looking for. The network and collaborations with the creative business sectors are really key at the moment. And I want to start with you, Albert Opio. Challenges for the creative businesses are quite a number of them. While many benefits come out very easily, the digital advances are also here. You told us, took us through the process of, the film and then the digital world, how things were done, how some people were being knocked out. But so does the major challenges that comes with finding the market. How do we find the market? How do we expose ourselves? But I want to say this. Creative industry subsectors are quite robust and it's big. And we want to start from the advertising world where you come from, the architecture world, the crafts. We want to go into the design and the designer fashion, which Stella Tal will talk about, the digital and entertainment media, which Faisal Chiwewa here will talk about, the film and photography, which I will chip in the 1 or 2 on that part, but also the publishing of it. Opio, we'll go back to you again in that regard. Software development and electronics. Can creative people also develop their own software? We're hearing a lot of software development in every aspect, but we don't hear one for creative. Maybe if it's there, we don't know. But Albert, to start with, there are challenges and opportunity in this lockdown. From the advertising point of view, how can we expose our product?
Well, thanks, Eddie. But then the advertising industry is unique in a way, because you must have a contract with a client for you to do any work. So without a contract, it's difficult. The key thing is getting that contract that then allows you, is it 3 months, is it 6 months, is it 12 months? The advertising industry is going through a change where so many things are changing. media consumption patterns are changing. So the people who read newspapers are a different segment. They're not growing, maybe they're shrinking. The number of people who go to websites, this number, the guys who go to YouTube, websites these days have video embedded in their channel. Almost every website these days has video, which means that people are moving from reading into interactive audio and video spaces. So it's changing so quickly that even advertising in the advertising industry is wondering how to go about it. It is broken down into traditional advertising agencies, which generate the creative ideas. Then it's broken down to those who actually buy the media. It's beginning to be segregated. Those who do production are different. Those who do production for digital spaces are different. So it is breaking up into many small silos. So what big agencies are doing is that they are buying all these small ones and keeping them the way they are, such that they're different, so that they can get business from all the different clients. Gone is the time where one advertising agency can be able to help a client in all facets of the things that are changing. So that's what's happening right now. So you find now digital agencies on their own, all they do is digital. Others just do media buying. Others just do experiential marketing. So I think things are really changing. So which is good, but it is stressing the traditional model of advertising, because most advertising agencies, first of all, they got a retainer that helps them to pay their overheads, because the retainer is based on the number of staff who are going to be working on that particular job. But then the agency made money from commissions of media, commissions of TV, commissions of outdoor, of print, and things like that. So when clients are removing the media buying or production components from the traditional agency, then you're going to struggle to survive, because now there's not enough money. As a business, it is not enough for you to survive. So those bigger agencies are breaking down into smaller ones, and all they're trying to do is reduce the overhead costs. And that's what is disrupting the industry, really.
Wow.
But the biggest challenge as well, if you move it away from advertising to add music or production or the movie industry, advertising, creativity is almost like farming. People only buy what has already been produced. That means everybody must first put in, you must first finish your song.
Yes.
Produce it to a certain standard.
Yes.
Then you must promote it.
Yes.
Basically, the expenses that go into creativity are high.
Yeah.
So a small thing like a lockdown, I'm calling it small, but
Yes.
it's big.
Yes.
When a lockdown happens, people go straight into losses because they have put all their money up front, which is different from all other businesses. They pay you before, when you walk to buy a shirt in a shop.
Yeah.
You first hand in the money before they give
money
you.
and goods, and
they
that's
give
it,
you.
yeah.
So similar with the farmer, if I plant tomatoes, nobody wants to know about my tomatoes
until
the tomatoes are ripe. Now there's a challenge. How do I sell those tomatoes before they go bad? That's exactly what creativity is.
Wow.
Which is a very, very difficult model to sustain, because you must put in money first before you make it. And because many times you don't make that money. And that causes financial distress.
Wow. Faisal, you have had, Pio has just broken something down, and I'm beginning to think about, because I've fallen in that category where he says you put in money and then lockdown to come and things are sweet, you don't know what to do, you have these things with you. But yes, Faisal, let's pick it up from you, from the digital and entertainment, place where you are, and the music and visual performing arts, where you stand.
Yeah, I mean, as Opia said, I mean, the challenges are the same, the effects are the same. I think the advantages, I come from a multidisciplinary approach. There are industries or subsectors within the entertainment or the creative industries that we work in, or the performing arts, that are being much more affected than the others. For those who are doing music, it's kind of an advantage for some, because there are opportunities for distribution online, digital distribution. There are opportunities for buying and selling, audio. There are opportunities of some small or shows that are happening indoors and something like that. But there are other sectors that are totally blacked out, like theater. I can imagine what all the actors that we've known from Bakaimbira to Talent, or which Afri Talent, Bat Valley, what are they all doing? And then you go to the film, the downtown film industry, what are they doing? Then you go to the visual arts. They are not, all the galleries are closed. People don't have money, even if they could access the work. So there are those that are very much are affected, and there are those that are kind of could have been easier to work with. So the film industry has been very fortunate that Pearl Magic has come on the market. Of course, they are not working with everyone, but there are opportunities for those who have good work. Like Opia said, that when you create content, then people can sell it. Actually, for film, there are advantages that some of them get co-production costs covered, so that you have a good script, it's liked, then like what Pearl Magic is doing, they are investing in the content themselves. The only thing I find interesting about it, that they invest in the content and they take the rights. I was actually talking to one of the producers, and they were like, how dare you?
But the rights, the problem is they're not being honest. The rights of this thing belongs to Pearl Magic. They come with it and say, can you produce? Like if I come and say, Faisal, if I write a script, I mean, there's what they call commissioning in film production. So Albert Opio has a very good idea and wants to produce this, and he has the money, but he can't produce it. So Albert Opio will say, Eddie, can I commission you to produce this content for me? It doesn't mean that because I am being commissioned to produce this program, originally the idea originates from Opio, so Opio will definitely have the copyright.
No, the incident or the case I was talking about was the writer had the script, but they didn't have the money. Okay. So they went to Pearl Magic. Maybe I shouldn't say that. They might sue me for that. But then they went to the conversation that has been and then they went, and then, but they were willing. They were not forced or whatever, not cheated at all. I was like, are you sure? Like, that was the only way for his script to get out.
Yes.
And
so he had to give away the right. The right was paid for and taken. So you can't complain. Yes.
And he can't complain. But but I wouldn't do that. Yeah. That is like selling your soul. But of course. He sees more opportunities coming. So industries are being affected differently at different levels. Yes. And I think, but also, I mean, when you look at advertising, I don't know how much advertising we are consuming these days. When it comes like, of course, everyone wants to go on YouTube, everyone is on social media, but when you look at all this physical advertising, it's not much relevant anymore. Of course, I don't know whether it's just even not adding any color to the city or anything else, but it's also very much downsized because people are not buying much stuff and the investments are not there. So there are so many different segmentations when it comes to this challenge.
Okay, I want us to go to Faisal. Faisal Opio. I want us to go to Stella Attal in France. I went to Stella Attal. Let's talk about fashion and design, where you are comfortable. Are we taking the opportunities amidst these challenges that we have, these challenging times of COVID-19 pandemic all across the world and in Uganda? How are you people in that space taking advantage of that? And if at all you are navigating the challenges and the opportunities, which of course Opio and Faisal said they are, how are you taking advantage of it? Stella Attal.
I think now I'm going to talk as a Ugandan designer on behalf of the Ugandan designers. There are lots of opportunities actually for the fashion designers because of the lockdown and because you have to stay at home. There is a lot that you can do. You have to just divert your interest from your comfort zone and now deal with the prevailing demand of the public. People are working from home, so they need clothes to put on when they're working. People, when they're attending to meetings, they must put on especially like the top, you must look like elegant, like you're in the office. Then you must have clothes for home. Most people spend less time at home, but now they are home like 24/7. So they need clothes to put on when they're home. You're not going to put on your nice dress you used to put on to go maybe like to a corporate function or to go for a cocktail. They need clothes like that. Then we need clothes for the frontliners. That's a very big market. When you look even in Europe, all the doctors, people who are working on the front line, they are given maybe like 1 or 2 uniforms because there is a lot of demand and few people are doing that. So you find that they go out of their pockets to buy additional uniforms because when you wash, every day you have to wash a uniform or you have to put on 2 a day to be safe. And then the masks, they give you masks, but then sometimes they are not enough. So you have to outsource your own masks for your own safety. What I see the challenge we have in Uganda, I think is people have been laid back. The designers, they think maybe life is going to change tomorrow, which is not true. But then my advice is for them to look like at the demographics of the areas where they are, tap into the opportunities, look at the lifestyle of the people there, look at maybe the earnings, look at the interest, look at the demand of what is available. If you're near the hospital, tap into that opportunity. If you're near maybe like a school, tap into that opportunity. Lots and lots of people. People are giving back. They have no clothes. People no longer travel to go and buy clothes in Europe. You have to deal with what is available next to you. But then if we don't show these people that we can do what can be consumed right now, then they won't even look for us. And secondly, we need to tap into the online market. But that is a bit of a challenge because of our internet in Uganda is not that good, especially with social media. And right now, social media is the biggest platform for marketing. And the less internet coverage you have, then the less access you're going to have reaching your clients. And then also, when you get that access, you have to think about how are you going to deliver your product. If a client wants something from you, how are you going to get it from your point to the client's point, and not to discourage or disappoint the client. If you say I'll deliver on Tuesday, it has to be there. Are you going to use a border? Are you going to use DHL? Are you going to use post office? You have to look into that. And then when that is done, then you have to look into the payment plan. How are they going to pay you? Can you access your account online? Are they going to give you mobile money? So all these, you have to sit down and find a way of how you're going to make ends meet, you and the client. And it's possible, it's doable, but we just need to get out of our comfort zone of doing runway clothes and now get down to the reality that even now I can do bed sheets because the hospital needs bed sheets. So by the time I wait to get to the runway, it might be maybe even 2016. So let's use the opportunities that are available right now. And I'm sure there are lots and lots of opportunities for the fashion designers.
Thank you very much, Stella. Thank you for that. I think Stella brings some very interesting points, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And Abatopio. There has always been this situation in the Ugandan, settings where we don't know how to tap into opportunity when they're available. Yet our counterparts in Kenya, when they come here, you find them creative art director, creative directors. They take some serious stuff from us, and we don't know how to take the opportunity. What do you think is our biggest challenge in taking the opportunities in challenging times like this one?
I think we have to be open-minded, because I think if you're a creative person, you probably have skills, but you're probably concentrating on the skill that was being paid for. But if you talk to every creative person, they've got other skills that are untapped, hidden. What lockdown is providing us an opportunity. The opportunity lockdown is giving us is to, because the one that was paying you is kind of locked down now. So can you give the others a chance?
Unlock the other ones.
Unlock the other ones, yes. Because now it allows, because before you were too busy.
No.
Maybe from morning to evening, busy. You have no time, you're busy, but you're being paid. But now that you're not being paid, what happens to the others? Do you look there and see whether they are still alive? Are they relevant? like Stella says about fashion, things are changing.
Yeah.
If people are spending a lot of time at home, they are probably not going to buy long-sleeved
Shirts.
checkered shirts for office, because where am I going to wear them?
Yes.
They're probably going to wear T-shirts, shorts. Oh, but Stella, this is lockdown, huh?
Oh,
Design this in lockdown, so not too bad. So I'm listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the opportunities are there for many creative people to actually think outside the box and create new things out of what you can do. For example, I think I could be able to do some fun T-shirt designs. I design them for free for my friends, for this. I just say, hey, there you are, take that one. I couldn't sleep last night. I came up with this idea, run with it, and I do it for free. So why am I doing it for free? Why aren't I thinking of doing it?
For 20K, 15K,
Yeah, I could sell 5 shirts a day
Yes.
and make 100K. So basically, it's about being open-minded, really, and accepting that this new normal might actually become the normal.
Faisal Chiwewa.
No, actually, I really enjoyed Stella's submission, because one of the things that I really realized that we don't see these things, and maybe it's also the exposure that we don't have that much exposure. You know, when I was attending a production in Düsseldorf last weekend, I was very amazed to see how much people are doing things. And people are like, one of the production that I watched was a premiere of a play called The Life of Michael K. from South Africa. And they were premiering it because South Africa is under a strict lockdown. So they were premiering it at Scape in Cape Town. And we were in Düsseldorf. But because it's strict lockdown, they were the only ones in the theater, the actors. And they were doing the whole 2.5-hour production for us in Germany. Can you imagine?
Wow.
So we were their audience, and they're in Cape Town acting for us in Germany. And I thought that this is amazing. You know, what have we done? What can we create? And I think the challenge is that we don't look a little bit further. We are so distracted, and that's one of the things that I tell people, that social media has also created a lot of distraction for people. People wake up, they go to bed, they're on Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. They can't put their phones down to have a moment to reflect, to have a moment to think and look around. What can they do? I think that's also one of the biggest things, that because of course for the consumers and other advertisers and people who are selling products, they're earning from it. But you as a person, you're not developing yourself because you're consuming too much of your time and not thinking for the better. And the other thing, when you talk about Kenyans taking our jobs, I think that was in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yes.
Early 2000s. I think our society has changed. We're not yet, I think what we normally forget is from the 70s to the late, I think till like mid-1995, Uganda was going through a transformation. We had just come out of the war, and Museveni had just ruled for a few years. The north was still under trouble, so there was not stability, and people were just getting themselves to start. And I think after that, in the early 2000s, Uganda started to fit in. As the president said, that there are more kids of rich people who are going to be employed. I think this is also another transformation. It's another transformation that we have to observe, actually. And I realized he had a point. He might be a little bit selfish, but he has a point. And when you look at our generation, the generation of our parents, there's a huge gap that has been breached, and I think it's a good thing. So I really think, but also we have to understand the societal stratas, how our society is. Like when I look at South Africa, you have to be, if you want to be a CEO, you have to be white, and the manager has to be a cappuccino, mixed. They call them cappuccino, and then the others are South Africans. That's our society. So we also have to see how is our society arranged when it comes to hierarchy. It plays a role as well.
Wow. Well, gentlemen and lady, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want you to apply your mind to finding new distribution channel, while Opio will tell us about, the digital entertainment process and publishing of these digital things we're talking about, because he comes from advertising world, and he's now doing a lot of digital communications. We're not printing them out, right? They're being distributed digitally. From a marketing and communication point of view, how do we take more advantage of this? Are there some opportunities outside Uganda because we could be the cheap labor for the US, or for the UK, or for Russia, whatever, these other countries who are more developed, and the labor is paid $50 per hour or $15 per hour. We may not be able to have that. $15 per hour is how much in Ugandan shillings here?
50K.
50K.
Yes. Slightly above 50K.
Yeah, so if I can find somebody in Africa or in Uganda here who can do this thing for 10,000 shillings an hour, don't you think that's very good? Because that gives me more hours than paying 50K an hour. So are we exposing ourselves to that point? Why are we not seeing that? So Albert, I want you to apply your mind to that. And Stella Tal, apply your mind to, how do we digitally distribute these clothes you're talking about to other people outside Uganda here. We tap into our neighbors in the region. And of course we want to talk to you, Faizo, from the electronic and software for distribution of music and electronic. We're talking about this in this era. How can we take advantage of it going forward? Stay right there. The Creative Industry Talk will be right back after the break.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake. Yeah. So let's be very honest about this thing, and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. When a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tony, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address? Now, as you look into the camera and close the show.
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
Definitely, if it's a good idea. It has gone through the development process. Then you start what we call in fundraising as an institution or even an individual who has a creative project. There is what they call fundraising, and that is if it's a public good, it's a common activity. If it's a business, that's a different thing. So when you're doing a business, creative business project, you're not asking for funding, you're asking for investment. People just get turned off by just being asked. You just come and say, why did you give me money? I'm like, who are you?
Why should I give you
money? Why should I?
What is it?
How do I get them to know that I exist? You're not asking yet, but you're just trying to check to test the waters and see how whether it's possible. I've met Faizo. I know Eddie. I can. We've had a conversation. I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So that trust is built within that asking. Honestly, the money is there. There's a lot of money, and those who know how to find it, they always find it. But then you find others saying, oh, that one is taking our money. Yet you didn't make an effort to find it. We have sleepless nights. I wake up at 2 a.m. to write applications, proposals. I try to balance my office daytime and my fundraising time and all the other things. So you really have to make an effort. The US has just put out a call. The State Department has just put out a call for support for a collaborative grant between the US and Uganda. It's for institutions, it's for individuals, for practitioners that are interested in exchanging ideas and knowledge between US and Uganda specifically. And it's quite between 5 to 50,000 dollars. So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was introduced already here in Uganda last before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So if the call is almost out, I think they'll put it out in May or June. And when that call comes out, you can apply for like 180,000 euros for 3 years, that you can do whatever you want to do. It's both institutional and for individual projects.
Please share it far and wide. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And this information will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faisal will be back here next week. We'll be talking about investment into the creative industry and how we can go about it, and who needs what, where, when, how. We'll be talking about it next week. Until next week, Edio Killer, Faisal Chiwewa, the founder and the CEO of Volleyball Foundation, is signing out on the Creative Talk.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake. Yeah. So let's be very honest about this thing, and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away, and yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion.
It is the Creative Industry Talk. Welcome back from that break. And we are discussing the UG creative sector, the challenges and the opportunities in these challenging times of COVID-19. Uganda, for example, is in a lockdown, 42 days. We've so far done 4 days. In these 4 days, what have you done? Have you earned money in these 4 days of lockdown? Are you trying something new? Are you finding new opportunities? Yes, there are challenges, but there are also opportunities that we can take advantage of and actually be better and be able to do something greater for ourselves. In the studio is Albert Opio, who is a creative curator is how we call him. The man is full of wisdom, is an herdsman who says he's picking some of his skills from the one he had shelved because he was very busy designing things, putting it to TikTok, and he's going to start telling us about safaris and which places to go to, what to do, how to get there. Opio is going to start doing that, and I want you to pay for that service because the man is pulling his ideas from. Gentlemen, come back. Welcome back to the show. And Faisal here is already using his skills, I think, in developing new softwares for distributing music, if I'm not mistaken, outside, because the festival is no longer going to be viable.
We need alternatives.
Yes. And Stella Tala said they're designing suka and busuti for staying home, these shorts and stuff like that, distributed online, which is a good thing. Okay, gentlemen and ladies, before we went for a break, we were discussing the connections and the wider market and how we can get there, and the advertising. I wanted to start from you, Albert. We are now designing things and putting it digitally out. And there are people who pay $50, for example, in the UK, in the US, in America, in Europe, and in the other parts of the world, which are developed countries, $50 per hour for a designer to sit down and design something for them, or for a message to go out. This is a message about their product and their brand. In Uganda here, that could be about 50,000 per hour. If I am living in the US or in Europe or whatever, and I find that I can pay Opio Albert in Uganda to 10,000 per hour to sit down and design my stuff and go, it becomes much cheaper for me to go with. Are Ugandans taking advantage of this, Albert? Or how can we help these people take advantage? I mean, Daniel Ogong was here on the show, and he talks about the biggest problem of Uganda and Ugandan creatives is that we're not exposed. He says, until we start, traveling across, we will not understand how to take the advantage. You, of course, a man who has been traveling around, you have traversed this country. I think you can write a book about this country. You've fished in the Lake Victoria, you've gone around the region, and you are back, you've worked in Tanzania. Are we taking advantage of this about of you? And how can we take it, if not at this point going forward?
I think most creative spaces are like politics. You will not be appointed a minister if you do not have a constituency.
Yeah.
You must have a constituency.
And you want it.
Yes, there has to be some constituency that you own.
Yeah.
Then you try and
with
go
the wind,
outside.
meanwhile.
Then you go try and go outside that space.
Yeah.
If you cannot become an international musician or artist if you don't have a local audience. You can, because if you grow up in Uganda, almost all insights about life that inform your creativity are from where you live, the things that you see around you. Those people must be able to buy your creativity, your painting, your song, whatever. And if I discover overnight that I can sing, and I did not know about this, and I start singing like a Nigerian, yeah, I might put my songs on YouTube and whatever. But then everybody will ask, who are you? Where are you from? Where are your inspirations coming from? I mean, you can't just say, I like Nigerian music. That's why I'm here. But then all your stories are local. So that means you see a lot of musicians who are succeeding, even in Uganda right now, are singing in Luganda, Swahili, or a mix of English and a local language. That means you have a local constituency, and then you're also looking for an international constituency. Even when you're invited to symposia or arts festivals all over the world, they ask you, where are you from? It's an important question. So I think the success of people like Jumia, who are in Uganda and have disrupted the local space. Jumia is in different countries in Africa, but they're all local. That if you're buying and selling things, you're buying and selling things in Uganda, in Nigeria, in South Africa. They're not selling something from South Africa, Jumia South Africa, and Jumia Uganda. It is within, and they're making money, which means there is potential for business locally. Who else is? There are many other people who are doing things locally. And I think we should not discount the local market now. If you look at the international space, say I'm a designer and I design logos and things, and I'm locked down, there are many designers worldwide who are also locked down. There are websites like Fiverr, where for $5 they'll design a logo. That definitely disadvantages me, because then a lot of people are going to go to Fiverr to get a logo. If you think I'm as a creative, I'm going out to look for a business. Even the other guys online, and I know that there is a place called Fiverr, where for $5 I can get a logo. It might not be the best, but it can kickstart me off, right? So and if you look at photography, we talked about it before. I want to be a photographer, but then there are places like freepic.com. There are places like Shutterstock. There are places like which are offering video clips, images, and animations for almost $5 or $10. And you look at the amount of money I must spend to create the same thing. So a lot of people are going to purchase. So I'm in the creative space. If you look at billboards around Kampala, there are like 5 models that keep appearing. He's appearing in insurance, he's appearing in banking. The same guy. That means all these people are purchasing from the same. So that means even the local models are not earning money that much anymore. The local photographers are not earning money that much anymore. So this thing of the international market is a double-edged sword. It is good, but it's bad. Now photographers are not making money because anyone can take a photo of an African setting anywhere across Africa for cheap. Because of software, a lot of people know how to use Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Premiere. And all these things, a lot of people who didn't really study this thing can actually shoot home videos and edit and upload. And that has become a new content, which is on social media sites. So where you thought, I'm on a TV channel, I'm qualified, I've got this degree, and people are going to watch me, people are going to TikTok to watch home videos which are even poorly done. But they are videos, and people are earning money from that. So It's changing a lot, and I still go back to the local constituency. We must be able to consume what we produce first before we actually think. I was in art school, and I think we're only, in my year, there are like 3 people out of 49 who are still practicing. Wow. Because the things, when we came out of art school, the art school had an ism. They said every school of art must have an ism. It must have a way it approaches a topic or a subject. Yeah. When we came out with sort of abstraction was the ism. And how we abstract basically for 3 years we were told, leave that. Our ism in this school is this. When you come out with your degree, you can break out of the ism and do whatever you want. But when we came out, our people don't understand abstraction. They understand real life things. Yeah. So now we are there with all our fantastic abstract things, which the market does not want. So we are lucky now that there's internet and social media and whatever. Yeah. But then you had nowhere to go. Yeah. That means where were artists displaying their art? They were going to Alliance Francaise, German Cultural Center. Yeah. Already you're disconnecting yourself from your people. And they're the ones who are constant. They're the ones there with you every day.
In lockdown.
If I still think the international market is important, I want to upload my art online. But with the digital, I can download that art now and manipulate it and make it mine. So I may not even earn from it. Like some music, your song goes online and people don't buy anymore because there are so many sites which are giving that for free. You must have a local constituency which purchases. So all my friends abandoned art. Pictures of their family, portraits. Like now, all these deaths that are happening, they might find streams because in like 500 years ago, family portraits or the king or rich men would pay artists to come and draw them.
Yes.
In a certain way. So
that was how is smiling because he comes from the visual part of it.
That's how people used to earn money. Yeah. Rich people and the kings and whatever would commission artists to paint chapels, to paint their houses, so that's how artists made money, right? Now, I see that's a local audience. So an artist in French was commissioned by a French king or a French rich man. An artist in Spain was commissioned by a Spanish person. He was not waiting for an American. Here, we need Ugandans commissioning Ugandan artists, whether it's film, whether it's music, whether in whatever way. Wow. We need to find a way of localizing our artistic expression, and then we purchase. Musicians have done that very well and are earning money because they're singing, what's it called? Lockdown. Someone has made a song out of lockdown and is making a name for himself. Yes. People abroad don't understand what lockdown is. Yes. Look at Nigerian music. Half the things in a Nigerian song we don't understand. Yeah. We don't even know what they're saying, but we're dancing, So, but then they first have a strong Nigerian market of 100 million people, which they're focusing on, and then the quality of the production is so high that people outside Nigeria can also consume it. But their primary market is local. Wow. So I think all our digital spaces need to be used first to focus on your creative, because I'm not that exposed. Yeah. I don't know about I can be a good comedian in Teso, but I can't
throw you in Buganda here. You are lost.
I'm lost because I don't speak the language. Yeah, so I go back to the local constituency first, then the world will recognize you.
Wow, Faisal, you've heard Opio's submission right there. We wanted to hear your thoughts on one, finding a new distribution and identifying the global demand for creative products and services, but more specifically on software and electronic publishing. You are in that space right now. Are we taking advantage of it? Are there opportunities? Can the local take?
I think there are so many attempts now that we are all trying to figure out how to deal with this situation. What is amazing is to see how much or how many platforms are coming out during this. People are trying to think, how can they survive? How can they put their work out there? One of the advantages of people who were online before this pandemic came in, that they were already established and people knew them. like Jumia, like there's also these artists who used to do live shows already. So it was easier for them to roll in or invest a little bit more to make it better than those who are just starting. For us who are just starting to realize that, okay, we need to be online. We are so used to the physical presence of our work, and now that was disrupted. So what we're doing now, like for example, case of Uganda, we've really decided to make sure that we try to set up some platforms for artists to benefit their work online. We are launching a new product called Umva Creatives, and this is an online platform which is an integration of cryptocurrency as well as selling art online. Like Stella was saying, one of the interesting aspect of this is like the logistical aspect of it. How do you get one product from one point to another? Of course, we want to look at the local market. One of the things that we are really, really trying to figure out is how do we get Ugandans to start buying local art, the abstract art. And then you also realize that we are not aware, as Opio said, people are not aware, they don't understand abstract art. It's like contemporary dance. Ugandans don't understand contemporary dance. For us, we know our traditional dances. That's it. Anyone can dance. Then you find someone doing contemporary dance, like what are they doing? What's the message? So it's really, really hard to sell. So what we are trying to do is to open up the market for them, for both local and international. And our strategy is that with this visual art platform, we want to take it out to the people. We go to all these offices. I go to these offices in Kampala that need work to look better, to look good. Maybe now that we are going to be remote working, even at home, I mean, some people are starting to buy some works of art because they
don't know these things.
But the thing is that you can't, it's not local. It was brought in, and they have educated these people to learn how to do it in an abstract way. I think we need to go back also to educate the people who are educating the artists to first maybe understand that, maybe do an analysis of like, do Ugandans understand abstract art? If they don't understand, why are we teaching kids to do abstract art when